Is this too little, too late? Did they sabotage the first portion of their season? You and I have talked about this a lot. Kevin Stefanski is an outstanding football coach and a really, really good offensive mind. He handed over play calling for this game as well. And I think he was able to do a little bit more coaching. There are other issues on this team, and he was able to coach some of those throughout the week and within the game. But everybody said Deshaun Watson gave them their best chance to win. And then in one game, we see Jameis Winston come out here, and I don't think we can just believe that statement anymore.
You never want to see a player like Deshaun Watson tears Achilles, and then people are saying that's what he deserves. Having injuries, going through injuries in this game, man, every injury impacts you differently, right? And once you get surgery, you always lose a percentage of mobility in that surgically repaired area. So just FYI for just understanding why. That's why injuries, at times, you never know the outcome.
Yep.
However, Jameis Winston, I'm not going to sit here and all of a sudden make these outlandish statements. Some of the key things that I watched in the game that I observed: one, the Baltimore Ravens did not have their starting two corners. And that was very evident, the way they were able to push the ball down the field against the Baltimore Ravens defense. Second of all, wasn't as much pressure on Jameis Winston as we've been seeing in games prior when Deshaun Watson was under center. Partly because Jameis Winston and Ken Dorsey, the offensive coordinator, seem to understand get the ball out a little bit quicker, right? They had Nick Chubb now for the second game. He seemed to be the Nick Chubb, making guys miss, 2 or 3 guys miss. Didn't have the 150 yards, but they were staying consistent and running football. Foreman was doing an outstanding job. But one of the things that I really noticed that has nothing to do with Jameis Winston, but it has to do with how they were able to neutralize the Baltimore Ravens, was the Baltimore Ravens were getting played man-to-man coverage. They had Newsome on tight ends. They had Ward on receivers. Guys were really doing a good job of covering, and the penetration and the consistent pressure by the Cleveland Browns made things extremely difficult. And Jim Schwartz, defense coordinator, has had a lot of success in slowing down Derrick Henry a lot of the time. And that was the difference. It gave the offense more and more opportunities, and it allowed Lamar Jackson to sometimes ad-lib and get a lot of pressure they usually weren't used to. Too many plays down the field, not enough. Take what the defense gives you. That's my humble opinion, not trying to take anything away from Jameis Winston, but also not trying to say that he's the Messiah now in Cleveland and everything is all fixed. And the word you use, which sabotage, that's a Phil Jackson versus Kobe and Shaq word right there, man. You got to be careful of that.
I consider it a Beastie Boys word, but real quick before we move on, Cedric Tillman, you liked him coming out, Steve. He catches 2 touchdowns in this game. I think he was 99 yards, 1 short of 100. Thoughts on him as a young receiver, real quick?
My thoughts on him is you can go to 89 and see a couple of years ago what I was talking about. He was at Tennessee. He's an XY receiver. He can get open. He doesn't get as much publicity like Jalen Hyatt got coming out of Tennessee, but this is a guy who sustained some injuries early in college. He obviously dropped a key pass a couple of weeks ago, but he's a guy that now, with Amari Cooper being traded and the quarterback situation and offensive coordinator responsibilities and allowed to call plays, things are a little bit differently. But I just think that with Jameis Winston, obviously because of the injury, you're going to see a different kind of offense. Quick throws. Jameis Winston is he's gonna throw the ball too to the other team because he believes he can hit every hole and receiver on the field. So there is no tight window he is not gonna force the ball through.
Yeah, and he's got amnesia, so he's gonna keep throwing it over and over.
He got the best amnesia known to mankind, and he really broke the fourth wall the other day when he was talking.
Was it when he quoted Eminem or when he talked about play for the logo on your helmet? Oh, wait, we don't have logos on our helmet. That was a good pregame speech that he gave. His personality, man.
James is funny.
He's funny as hell.